Love the bubbly water. Hey, Greg here, burn at both ends. Burn on the back end of Tuesday. It's 11:38 p.m. Pacific, June 26, 2018. It's just great couple days with iCore. A lot of interviews. We've had 8 interviews in the last 2 days. We got 2 more this week. Excited about that. Filling up the interview funnel. And actually, that was one of the calls today. The gentleman asked if how our pipeline was doing for our interviews, and one of my teammates made a comment, we think we're all right, and my comment was, the pipeline can never be full enough. So always looking to fill the pipeline, because you never know who's going to come out the other end. And I have to say, LinkedIn is still, it just continues to be this amazing resource, and and just these connections with the right couple hundred characters of an introduction. And hey, this is why I want to speak to you, is working like a charm. And the cool thing is that not only do you get an interview out of it if they respond, or I get an interview out of it if they respond, but I get a connection, which is great. So building my network. Even I think just at the beginning of this iCore, I think I've already added something like 50 people to my network. So it's fantastic, really. And this is the first time I'm really with intention pursuing LinkedIn. I never really understood the value of it, and it was not until I got into this burn at both ends and listened to Gary Vee and understanding social and the power and the reason why people put effort in there, and I'm getting it. I'm a little bit late to the game, and I'll admit that, but what's that Chinese proverb? What's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. What's the second best time? Now. So now. Now I'm in now. Okay, so love LinkedIn. And also what I'm realizing is that I don't think it has a name, but when you go to someone's profile, you got their picture, you got their title, and then there's that block of text that usually it's kind of somewhat hidden, and you have to click on see more to see the whole thing if they've written a decent amount. I find reading that is really beneficial, A, for keywords, but B, a lot of people put in there how willing they are to accept a connection. And as a matter of fact, a couple of the people today, they actually had language in there saying, hey, connect with me. I'm totally open. I'll totally, get you back and talk to you. So, and I also find that even if it doesn't say that explicitly, the language of that summary will give me an indication as to whether or not this person might want to, take a chance to connect. But I also find that with my company name, and a little bowl here, sorry, company name and what I'm working on, those keywords are pretty exciting, and so I find that alone can garner a response. And so anyway, kicked out a whole bunch of those today, got one back already, so scheduled an interview for next week. And that's what I'm doing, is I'm realizing that like the work I put in today on filling the pipeline is going to work out next week in scheduling interviews. And what's cool is that I do this like double thing where I'm reaching out to them this week, and then I'm going to hit them again on Monday. And if this week's communication doesn't rattle them, then Monday's will, most of the time. And it's always good if I have a second way to communicate, if it's not always just email, because if they ignore one email, there's a good chance they'll ignore a second email. But yeah, just once again back to LinkedIn, that DM on LinkedIn seems to be magical. And also the Success Journal, super awesome, loving the way that's working, really helping me out. Like today, it was I was wrapping up work. It was like almost 5 o'clock. I had to move on to my next thing, which is my men's meeting. I had to cook my dinner and then get moving. But I had 15 minutes of it was like 4:45, and I didn't have to start cooking until 5. I had to leave at 5:30, and so I was like, what am I going to do in this 15 minutes? I hate wasting that. So I'm thinking micro work. What can I do? So I just went to my Success Journal. I found an item in there I hadn't hit yet, and I'm glad I did, because it was an item where I was getting a 3D model from someone else, and it turned out that I couldn't even open the model. Right, that person didn't save it right. And this can happen in CAD, right? You have a whole assembly with, a couple dozen or a couple hundred parts. And if you don't save it right, and you send it to someone, then you can only be sending maybe the top level assembly and not the rest of the parts. And so it doesn't open. And so everything gets suppressed, and that's how it was. So I'm glad I did it. It didn't take 15 minutes. It actually took 2 minutes. But actually, I did it twice just to make sure. But then I was able to email this person, hey, this CAD file is not right, and point him in the right direction on how to save it. It was a SolidWorks file, so you do this pack and go, which pulls all the parts into one place. So that way, when you send it to someone, they can open up the entire assembly. So anyway, so just the success journal was, enabled me just to look at that thing. It had fallen off my radar. Back on by looking at the success journal, found out that it was a non-starter to begin with, so I was able to communicate back to that person. So that was a nice little successful loop right there. So the success journal is really saving my butt, I have to say. And then as far as iCore goes, this week, huge week, 8 interviews so far. We really turned a corner. I have a whole new set of people now to go after, to talk to. We need to learn about it. I shouldn't say a whole new set, but what we've learned is that we're in this application space, and now we know what sliver of that space we're in, and so now we can do like a deep dive. Whatever, that's not a dive, but that's what we're doing. Whatever that is. Whatever. I don't know. I should patent that maybe. Probably not. But anyway, so we can really hit this really narrow section, and so I have some keywords, I have some critical things. And also another thing, we're entering an interesting part of the iCore program right now, just for my team. So we're finishing up week 4, right? We have 3 more weeks on the ground here, in Albany or in Berkeley, wherever we are. And then we're, the last week is pretty much graduation week. So the last week, it counts, but the way I see it is, if I'm scrounging for interviews in that last week, then I've done something wrong. Or, maybe I shouldn't say that, so in such a hardcore way, I should be well past 70 by the end of the 7th week. I think we'll be past there. But what's really cool is that now we've turned a corner. I have a whole new set of people to go after, to understand things. And, this concept of when we're in an interview and who can you refer, this is working out great. This really is. And what I find, back to my people are freaking awesome. I find people are bending over backwards to help, and if they can't refer someone, then typically what I'll get is a nice email with some thick content in it. I'm getting that because, a lot of the folks that we're talking to are either like retirees or consultants. People that have ridiculous wisdom in these areas. And not only that, but they want to give it away, right? They want to give it away. And also a bunch of them are consultants and they're looking for work. So they're going to throw some value out in the front end. Maybe, just a little kind of to impress, because they're looking for some work. And I would love to be able to pay some of these people. I just don't think that we can with our budget. The DOE is kind of picky about how we spend their money. I don't blame them, but there are only certain things that I can spend this money on. But there is a conference in Germany might be going to, so that would be awesome. I've never been to Germany. I'd love to do that. And this is one of the few times where I control the pile of money. Typically I'm on a project, and the project has its needs, and I'm engineering toward that. But this is a special project. I get to control the money. So if I want to spend it on this trip to Germany, as long as we have enough of it, I can. So I might want to do that. That's going to be just fantastic. And what else is going on? Oh yeah, and then during this whole process, one of the interviewees, and I think I mentioned this, has an alternate entrepreneurial opportunity. And so we met today. I learned about it. He wants to move. And so I'm going to see if I can get some funding from my department to help this person, because he only has enough money to buy hardware. He does not have enough money really to pay a person. So, but my department has some discretionary money sometimes, and they can throw it at certain things. And like they gave me some additional funding for this iCore program, so I'm going to ask for more. And as a matter of fact, part of that additional funding that they gave me, I think I can use for to support this guy. So we'll see. And so it's just been a very powerful week. These things I'm putting in place, they're working really well. The success journal, leveraging LinkedIn, just how simple a connection and a short little note is, and how powerful the result can be, right? As Gary Vee would say, right, the arbitrage on this stuff is all lopsided. The return that I'm getting from like a 200 character connection DM to to become an interview is incredible. I mean, like, for example, one of the people that I reached out to in Denver, this is, the very first week, we met with this person. He wasn't even related to our technology. He was just an entrepreneur interested in tech transfer. I'm like, let's talk to this guy. I'm sure he's got some good things. He's led to now 3 phenomenal interviews. Well, one, and then one this week as well. And then on top of that, one of the people that he gave to us as a referral, I was able to connect him with someone that's hopefully going to become a really solid connection. So we're like all helping each other out. Just love it. Just love it. So that's the deal. Yeah. So these are things I'm leveraging that are giving me success. I'm an aspiring entrepreneur. That's the whole point of this channel, is I want to reveal all the stuff that's working for me, reveal all the things I'm struggling with, like patience, persistence, those kinds of things, empathy. Oh yeah, I was just going to explain something and I realized I moved on right from it. So it's an interesting spot for my team in this I-Corps program, because my principal investigator literally is retiring on Friday. So he's going to be out of the picture at least for 2 weeks, because then he goes on vacation. But I guess when you retire, it's not really vacation. But anyway, so he's away for 2 weeks. So that's half of July. And then we have 1 week and then graduation. So I'm curious in those 3 weeks of July, the support I'm going to get from other people in his department, whether or not I can get the right support. Because there's this one person who is first in line, and unfortunately every time I go to book a meeting and I click on his calendar, it's just book solid. And so it's like, I'm deploying empathy because this guy is super busy and he's really high up in the company, and I can appreciate that. But at the same time, it's like I need this technical support on these interviews, because I don't want to miss something, and I'm kind of worried about that. And so, but I will deal with it. I will figure out a way around it. We do have our industry mentor, but he's on the East Coast, and so some of those afternoon meetings become difficult for him. But we'll see how it goes. And I'm optimistic, and I'm empathetic, right? And I'm patient, and all these things. But it's tough because I just want to be like, just give me someone else. Give me someone that's got some free time to help me. But anyway, we'll see. And so that's my channel. This is my post for tonight. These things are working great for me. Success Journal. It's linked down below. Check it out. There's a YouTube post. There's a template down there. Motivational websites down there. Really got me on track this year. Almost halfway through the year. Psyched that I'm just staying in this game. I'm really enjoying this journey. I'm really enjoying this burn at both ends. It's just really empowering for me. So I really appreciate it. And what else I got down there? Yeah, some great music down there. I found some new music, Black Venus. Check it out. And then, of course, the beat in the background is Afrobeat inspired by Fela Kuti. My alter ego is G Money. I write these beats. Check them out. SoundCloud. There's a link down below. And that'll do it for tonight. So get some rest. I got to burn on my presentation for I-Corps tomorrow. I just want to hit it a little bit, just till about maybe 12:30 or so. And then get up tomorrow early and knock it out. I got to give the presentation start. The webinar starts at about 11, but I got to upload it about 2 hours earlier. So I have till about 9 my time, but I still have time because it's a Google slide, so I can still work on it even though it's uploaded. So we will do that. So we're going to rock the presentation tomorrow, and then we get a little breather in the afternoon. Wednesday's a little bit of a hump day because we got this 2-hour webinar. No interviews scheduled tomorrow afternoon. But so I'll probably hit some of these other projects that I have going on. So anyway, y'all be well, get some good rest, get up tomorrow, crush it, inspire people, do great things. I will see you in the morning.